Why can some coaches land large, monthly, high-paying clients and others can't? What's the variable difference, and how do I become one of those that can? That's what we're discussing on this episode of this Business Coaching Success Podcast. Let's jump in. BJ O'Neill here with the Business Coaching Success Podcast. So glad you're here, where I share with you strategies, tools, and tips to be able to grow your business coaching practice to six figures and beyond as a Christian business coach. Let's jump in. Welcome. Glad that you are here. Fun conversation today about being able to make the difference of how can I get large clients versus small clients? Why should I focus on it? How does it work? Like why, maybe you're a coach right now and you see, man, I'm out there, I've got clients, whatever, but I see these other coaches and they're landing very, very large deals compared to what I'm doing. And there's some answers to that. And I'm going to share with you, there's actually a name for it. I'm going to explain that name for it in just a moment. And I'll share with you, that's the biggest bedrock of the difference. And I'll share that name, and it's going to be the one I'm going to leave you with here in just a minute. I think it could change your perspective upon how you interact with others. Okay? And hey, listen, if you ever want to talk about business coaching, go to businesscoachmastery.com. That's businesscoachmastery.com. We can schedule a chat there, chat with our team. We'll give you a good overview of exactly what we do regarding our done-for-you business coaching practice where you can live life on your terms. And so in doing so, when we talk about living life on your terms, what's one of the ways we do that? Well, flexibility. And that comes from how we set up our business coaching practice, okay? There's a good likelihood that if you're going to coach for many years, that you're going to have different clients at different levels for different variables. But oftentimes that happens because we don't control what it is that the way that the agreement is set up, okay? And a lot of that starts with when it's very normal when a coach starts out, they, are out there kind of just getting whatever they can. And there's a reason why they're doing it that way. And they find themselves stuck after the third or fourth client, not getting what they believe that they are valued at and what they should be getting. Why? Okay. Well, first, when we look at the average coach charges around $2,000 a month for one-on-one coaching. Okay. That is just an average across the board when it comes to working with clients. But oftentimes, one of the reasons why it's even that is we don't understand what we're even saying. And so people will say, well, why in the world would you charge $2,000 a month? Or why would you only charge $2,000 a month? Well, first, working with a business, it's more about them investing into the growth of their business. You're just an agent. You're the agent of change. You're the one that's going to guide them and help them along their journey. They're not just paying you. So the first thing we look at is mindset. You have to have the right mindset to understand what's actually happening for there to be an exchange of monetary value. They're not paying you for your time. Okay? You're not there to you're going to increase your fees because you're going to spend more time with them. They need results. And it's your job as a coach to show them the compelling reason why they should invest in the growth of their business and that you're their guide. And when you can do that well, that's one of the reasons why you're able to articulately be able to increase your fees. But it does start there with a mindset. The second part of that mindset is your belief in yourself. And I don't care if you're just starting out. Now, I will argue that, it's best to have a predefined process, roadmap, and structure to help a business owner to be able to actually achieve success in growing the profits and revenues of their business. Without that, you do fall into the trap of just giving advice, which that gets really tricky. We don't encourage that. You definitely want to have a predefined roadmap to be able to make that happen. So what does that look like? That's the value proposition. When you're able to walk someone through what we call the aha zone. In other words, when someone's anxieties are high and their skills are low, that's where people are confused. That's where their things are fuzzy. That's where they're frustrated. But as they grow their skill sets, as they grow their knowledge, as they grow their understanding, that's where they end up getting into the middle of what we call the aha zone. And if you're guiding them to that, they begin to look at you psychologically as a guide. And that shifts things away from selling, which is what we want to do. So let's rewind. If we're looking at being able to get more value, in other words, we're going to, instead of getting $2,000 a month, how to be at $5,000 a month. Starts with our mindset, number one, and the ability to be able to help someone to increase knowledge, decrease anxiety. Okay? And that's what you want to do. So rather than having this idea of I'm selling to someone, nothing wrong with sales, but from a mindset perspective, when you recognize yourself as a strategist and that you strategically are walking people through a process to increase knowledge and skill and decrease anxiety, that's where the money's at. Because now they don't look at you as them selling business coaching services. And what you may find interesting is that I actually encourage you, when you're on our coaching team, to not consider yourself as a business coach, but rather to consider yourself as a business strategist. Number one, it sets things up automatically for people to view you and your process very different. So rather than having the whole, here's 5 reasons why you should hire a business coach, when you're in a strategic perspective and you're asking great questions, helping people to get clarity, helping them to be able to understand what they don't know, helping them to see things that they've never even thought about, that's where, again, the aha moments are at, and you're doing it through strategy. So rather than, let's say that I were to meet you, we'll do a couple of role plays here. If I met you and you were a dentist and I met you through a referral, if I approached you in that setup more about just trying to get you as a client and sell you on the idea of you working with a business coach, which is historically what a lot of coaches have done, and to be very fair, that's what I used to do when I didn't know any better. But when we use that approach, we're making that approach all about us, the coach, because we're just looking to get a client. And what happens is that dentist in this case, they can sense that. They know that's what you're doing. Look, everyone knows what we're doing. You need clients, they need customers, right? We all need that. But when the approach is all about just this angle of, I need to get them as a client, and you don't set it up correctly, then you run the risk of being able to have higher fees and probably even getting the deal done at all, for that matter. Versus when you begin the relationship, this is what you need to pay attention to and listen to. This can change either A, your current scenario where you are in coaching, or if you're thinking about getting into coaching, maybe you've had the 9-to-5 for a long time and you're looking to do different things and you're in a career change, you love helping people, you want to earn a good living. If you're just now starting out, this is for you, for sure. You want to move away from this idea that I need a client, and you move into being in a position to where you're asking great questions to where they perceive you as a strategic voice. What does that look like? Well, if I am the coach and the strategist, I've met the dentist through a friend, and we get the opportunity to, go to coffee together, whatever. I'm never bringing up anything about me unless I'm asked, number one. I'm going to make that entire conversation. And by the way, this would be the same way if I was shaking your hand at a networking event, or if I'd exchange an email, through a referral, whatever. It's all relative. But in this case, this example, over coffee, I am saying, so tell me about what's going on in your business. Like, just be inquisitive, naturally, with sincerity. Like, just find out what's going on. And then you begin to, we call it peeling back the onion. And we do it slowly. And if you look at each time you peel back an onion, that's a question. So it's kind of like, here's a really relative question that you can still ask today. So I'm just curious, you've had the practice for quite a while. What is it like right now post-COVID versus how business was being conducted prior to COVID? Any differences, or Well, tell me about that. You start to find ways to ask questions that gets them to open up about the business, explain what's really going on, and so that you can start to get into what they perceive to be challenges. So here's an example. Let's say that, well, this is what it's been looking like. And the other thing that's, happened in the last 5 or 6 years, as our community is growing, there seems to be, there's way more dentists on every corner than there ever was before. And so my answer may be, so you're saying that there's more competition? Oh, yeah. I might even ask, but isn't there more heads? There's more teeth, right? Yeah, there is, but there's just so many more choices. So walk me through that. How are you guys working through that? So all you're doing is you're walking them through what's going on, and you're doing it through conversation and doing it correctly. Every step of the way, they see you as strategy. They see you as someone who is a great thinker. They see you as someone who is trying to work through the different elements. And then what we do, in our system and the way we coach and train our coaches, is we want to begin to plant actual conversation around a strategy that's going to be a strategy that we would probably help them with if they were to ever engage with us in a professional relationship. So if this dentist talked about the competition, I'm going to start to ask them about questions. And I may say something like, so tell me, what does uniqueness look like? Like, what's your current market dominating position? They're probably going to go, well, we do this, that, the other. I'm like, but do you feel like it's very unique? Well, and so that whole, like maybe like that's what's opening up thought. That's what's helping them to address options. That's what's starting to begin to help them to see possibility. Here's what happened. I told you I was going to give you the name of this in the beginning. This is what sets you up to be a thought leader. And that's how you're able to charge more. Because from the very beginning, they begin to buy into the way that you're walking them through opportunity, options, process. Now, it's arguably you have to have some mechanism, or you need a mechanism to be able to really show them how they can propel their business and significantly increase their profits, their revenues, whatever it is they're looking to be able to do. We do that with a predefined assessment in our toolkit. It's very visual, very interactive, but you need something to be able to show them what's truly possible in their business. Again, we use an invitation to go through an assessment to do that. And that's where doing apparatuses like that, options like that, that's how you're able to charge more versus being able to just barely get the deal and charge, the difference between, someone charging $1,000 a month and $5,000. So let's recap for a second. You've got your mindset, your believability in yourself, how you're approaching the value proposition. We don't want to approach them from a traditional sales-minded aspect, but rather being very inquisitive, asking great questions, and building a sincere relationship with them. And you also need to have this idea that, yeah, you may need that client this month, but that kind of thinking will sabotage your ability to actually get them as a client because they'll sense it. You need to be able to say, I want to serve them, I want to work with them. I think we could engage. I think I could help them. But that may not always be right now. It might not be for 3 months or 6 months down the road. Keep your pipeline full. Keep that conversation going. And when you do that and you make it more about what they need, that's what increases the odds, the chances, the opportunities for getting bigger ticket clients that will be with you for a lot longer. You don't want to approach them in some desperation move because they'll feel that, and that sabotages your value. That reduces them to see you as to what you really potentially could offer them in helping them to grow their business. And lastly, as a thought leader, you want to be able to articulately show them what investing into the growth of their business looks like, and that you're the person, you're the agent to guide them through an opportunity to see that growth potential success. So there you go. It's not as hard as you may think that it is. There really is no trick. There is no secret to it whatsoever, but it all starts with relationship, with value, with visibly showing them what's possible. And that starts with peeling the onion back from day one. Asking great questions, helping them to think, helping them to go, huh, never thought that before. Didn't realize that. That's a great thing. We've never even addressed that before. That's what's setting the tone for being able to charge more for what you are worth. It also takes practice. Like everything else in life, the more times you have conversations like that, the more times that you're speaking with people, which I would encourage you. Hey, you want to get really good at this? Increase your conversations. If you're having 5 of them a week, get to 15. If you're having 15, get to 35. Like the more conversations you have this week, you're just going to get better at it, refine your process, and then eventually it just becomes how you operate, okay? There you go. Put it into practice. Don't let it be a great thought. Make it actionable, make it happen, and I believe great things can happen for you, all right? Until next time, take care.